Los Angeles just pulled the trigger on the kind of move that makes you stop whatever you're doing. Deandre Ayton, the former #1 overall pick, the 7-footer who once anchored Phoenix's finals run, is now a Los Angeles Laker. Yes, you heard that right. The big man from the Portland Trail Blazers, after securing his buyout, has chosen purple and gold, and the city is already shaking under the weight of the possibilities. Stop and imagine it. LeBron James pushing the ball in transition, Anthony Davis lurking weak side, and Deandre Ayton planting himself in the paint like a mountain no defense can move. That isn't just a highlight waiting to happen. That's a nightmare for every front office in the Western Conference. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your home for every shocking headline, every rumor, and every moment that makes Laker Nation pulse with adrenaline. Do me a quick favor, smash that like button right now, subscribe if you bleed purple and gold, and drop in the comments what this move means to you, because trust me, this one isn't just another roster shuffle. This is a cultural reset, a statement to the league, and maybe the final piece of a puzzle we've been trying to finish since Banner 17. Now, let's really dive into what this means. For years, Lakers fans have begged for size, for depth, for security in the paint. We've watched Anthony Davis fight, night after night, carrying the load of rim protection, rebounding, and offensive production inside. We've seen him dominate, but we've also seen the toll it takes. Every awkward fall, every grimace, every trip to the locker room sends shockwaves through this fan base. And now, with Ayton in the mix, that burden doesn't just lighten, it evaporates. Ayton is no project. He's no raw rookie. He's a 7-foot, 250-pound interior force with soft hands, quick feet, and a finals resume. Think back to 2021, when the Suns rode all the way to the NBA Finals. Who was the anchor? Who was the rim-running, glass-cleaning machine that gave Chris Paul and Devin Booker the confidence to bomb away from deep? Deandre Ayton. He was 22 years old and playing like a veteran, swallowing rebounds, punishing switches, and holding his own against giants. That wasn't a fluke. That was the blueprint of what Ayton can be when he's engaged, when he's surrounded by stars who know how to use him when the spotlight is bright enough to keep him locked in. And that's what makes this move so terrifying for the rest of the league, because in Los Angeles, with LeBron still orchestrating at 40, with Anthony Davis still one of the most versatile defenders alive, and with a roster craving another big to stabilize the interior, Ayton isn't just insurance. He's fuel. He's the piece that takes pressure off everyone else. AD doesn't have to guard Jokic alone anymore. LeBron doesn't have to bang inside with bigger bodies just to keep possessions alive. Austin Reeves doesn't have to overhelp on defense, leaving shooters free. Ayton fills the gap, plugs the leak, solves the puzzle. And don't underestimate what this means emotionally. This fanbase has been restless. After last year's disappointment, the quick playoff exit, the questions about depth, about toughness, about whether this roster could really stack up with Denver or Minnesota, hope felt thin. But Ayton changes that narrative overnight. He brings legitimacy. He brings a sense that the Lakers are once again thinking bigger than just surviving the regular season. They're thinking about May, about June, about that 18th banner. Picture it right now. Game 7, second round, Crypto.com Arena. The Nuggets roll out Nikola Jokic, the man who has terrorized us year after year. But this time, it's different. Davis slides to the 4. Ayton takes the initial body blows, and suddenly Jokic isn't living in the paint anymore. He's working harder. He's feeling that 7-foot frame leaning on him every possession. That changes everything. Suddenly, the Lakers' defense has two anchors, not one. Suddenly, the offense flows because AD is free to roam, to attack, to conserve his body. Suddenly, the game feels winnable. That's what Ayton gives you. Hope that feels real. And offensively, don't sleep on it. Ayton isn't just a rim protector. He's got touch. He can hit the mid-range jumper. He can finish lobs with authority. He runs the floor like a guard when he's motivated. Add him next to LeBron, one of the greatest playmakers the game has ever seen, and the opportunities explode. Imagine fast breaks with Ayton finishing above the rim. Imagine pick-and rolls with Ayton diving, LeBron dishing, and defenses stuck in no-win situations. You can't double AD. You can't leave shooters. You can't stop the train once it's moving. And that's why this move feels seismic, Lakers Nation, because for the first time in years, this front office isn't patching holes with veteran minimums, stopgap solutions, and bargain bin role players who were never meant to carry the weight of a franchise. They're not just duct taping the roster together, hoping LeBron and AD can drag it through the playoffs. No, they're taking a swing, a big one, at a name that actually changes the architecture of the team. Deandre Ayton isn't perfect, but he's a proven big who fills exactly what's been missing. He's not a question mark. He's an answer. He's size that can't be taught, strength that wears down opponents, depth that keeps the Lakers alive in 7-game wars. He's the kind of addition that makes coaches rethink their rotations, that makes rival GMs lose sleep, that makes every trip to Crypto.com Arena feel heavier. Ayton is the difference between going home early and still standing in June when the lights are brightest. So here's the question. Lakers fans, are you ready to see Anthony Davis finally freed from the grind of carrying every defensive assignment, no longer forced to be both a scorer and the sole protector of the rim? Are you ready to see LeBron James, at 40 years old, finally have a true partner in the paint? Someone who takes hits, grabs boards, and lets him conserve just enough energy to still dominate when it matters? Are you ready to believe that this team, this roster, just might have solved its biggest flaw in one bold, fearless move? Because the truth is simple. With Deandre Ayton in purple and gold, nothing feels impossible anymore. The gap between contender and champion suddenly narrows. The excuses fade. The vision of banner number 18 doesn't just feel like a dream. It feels like a plan. And here's where things get even more exciting. Lakers Nation. Because adding Deandre Ayton doesn't just make sense on the court. It makes sense everywhere. Offensively, defensively, emotionally, financially. Think about it. This isn't trading away half the roster for a superstar. This is a buyout signing. This is grabbing a former number 1 pick, still in his prime, without gutting the future. That's the kind of opportunistic move that defines great front offices. But let's go deeper. How many times have we watched this team fall short because the supporting cast wasn't enough? Because AD was alone? Because the interior collapsed? It's happened often against Denver, against Phoenix, against Minnesota. It always felt the same. The Lakers had stars, but they didn't have balance, and balance is everything in the NBA. Ayton brings that balance. He isn't flashy, but he's steady. He gives you double-doubles. He gives you presence. He gives you confidence. I know what some critics will say. Ayton has been inconsistent. He's been accused of lacking motor, of floating through games, of not always bringing intensity. And yes, that's fair. We've seen those moments. But ask yourself this, when has Ayton thrived? When has he looked unstoppable? It's when he's been surrounded by greatness. In Phoenix, with Chris Paul directing traffic and Booker drawing doubles, Ayton looked like a star. In Portland, buried on a rebuilding team, motivation waned. Put him in Los Angeles, with LeBron demanding excellence and AD holding him accountable every practice. And do you really think he won't respond? The Lakers culture has revived careers before. Why not Ayton? And let's be real, Lakers Nation, this isn't just about basketball. It's about symbolism. Signing Ayton says to the league, we're not done. LeBron might be 40, but we're still building, still fighting, still swinging for banners. It tells AD, you're not alone anymore. It tells the fans, we hear you, we see the weakness, we've addressed it. That matters. That energy, that belief fuels everything now. Let's pull back the curtain for just a moment. Lakers Nation, because as real as this feels, as perfect as it sounds, Deandre Ayton is not officially a Laker. Not yet. There's no jersey unveiling under the bright lights of Crypto.com Arena. No press conference with Pelinka smiling and Ayton holding up the purple and gold. No handshake deal sealed in front of flashing cameras. What we're talking about here is speculation, but not the kind of empty gossip that floats around in July just to fill airtime. This is a dream spun from logic. A rumor born from whispers in the league. A move that makes so much sense it feels like it's already been written. And that's exactly why it's intoxicating. Because it doesn't feel like fantasy. It feels real. It feels possible. It feels inevitable. As if the pieces are already aligning and all that's missing is the announcement. And here's where I get personal with you. If it were up to me, I'd make this move without hesitation. No second thoughts. I've watched this team get bullied inside too many times in the postseason, out-muscled by Jokic, pushed around by Gobert, forced into desperate small ball lineups that left AD limping and fans begging for help. I don't want another season of praying Anthony Davis stays healthy just to survive the paint wars. We've seen that movie, And we know how it ends. Ayton may not be perfect, but he's exactly the kind of imperfect solution that fits this team like a glove. He gives AD freedom to be versatile instead of shackled. He gives LeBron security, knowing someone else is doing the dirty work inside. And most importantly, he gives us, the fans, belief again, and belief is everything. In Los Angeles, belief is what kept us alive during the dark years, what carried us to bubble glory, what fuels the obsession with banner number 18. Look, I know the criticisms. I've heard them all. I know some of you are saying Ayton floats through games, that he drifts in and out, that sometimes his motor doesn't scream urgency, that he's not the kind of fiery, chest-thumping dog the Lakers need in the trenches. And sure, I've seen those nights too, the box scores where he disappears, the stretches where he looks passive, the moments where you want him to roar and instead he whispers. That frustration is real, but I've also seen another version of Ayton, the one who shows up when the lights are blinding, when the pressure is suffocating, when the stakes are higher than most players ever dream of. Go back to 2021, 22 years old, in his first finals, and he wasn't scared. He wasn't rattled. He was fearless. He ran the floor. He fought inside. He battled MVP-level bigs and held his ground in a way most young players can't. That was no fluke. That was proof of what's inside him when the moment calls. And don't forget, he's only 26. That's the prime of an NBA big man's career. Players grow. Players evolve. Mistakes harden them. Failures sharpen them. And second, chances bring out the hunger that first chances never could. In Portland, buried on a rebuilding roster, it was easy to coast, easy to lose focus. But in Los Angeles, there's no room for coasting. This city demands accountability. Every possession, every shot, every defensive rotation is magnified. And Ayton, for all the knocks on his consistency, has never had the kind of culture shock the Lakers would give him. This isn't the Suns or the Blazers. This is Hollywood. This is scrutiny every single night. This is pressure that either breaks you or builds you into something greater. And I believe Ayton is the kind of player who, with the right stars around him, rises instead of crumbles. Because let's be real, if there's any locker room in the NBA where you either buy in or get left behind, it's the one led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron doesn't tolerate passengers. AD knows exactly what it's like to carry a front court alone, and he won't let Ayton hide behind him. That environment is sink or swim. And I believe Ayton is ready to swim. I believe he's been waiting, not just for another contract, not just for another role, but for a second chance on a real stage. A chance to silence the critics who said his finals run was a fluke, who said his motor would never ignite, who said he'd never be more than solid. The Lakers are that stage. They're the place where reputations are either reborn or destroyed. And I'm telling you, Ayton fits the story of rebirth. So let me put it to you. Lakers Nation, is Deandre Ayton the missing piece, the player, who finally tips the scales back in our favor, who gives us the size, the toughness, the stability we've been begging for to survive a Western Conference stacked with giants? Is he the reason we stop looking over our shoulders at Denver with Jokic, at Minnesota with Gobert, at Golden State with their small ball trickery, and instead start looking forward to June with real confidence? Could Ayton be the reason the Lakers stop hoping for health and luck and start imposing fear again? Or is this just another off-season mirage? Another headline that fires us up because it feels so good. Because it feels like destiny written in purple and gold. Because it's the story we want so badly to believe. Drop your thoughts below. Because your voice, your belief, isn't just background noise. It's the heartbeat of this franchise. It's the pressure that forces the front office to act. It's the energy that makes Crypto.com Arena shake on a Tuesday in February and roar in a Game 7 in May. And trust me, in Los Angeles, when the fans believe, reality has a way of catching up, and I'll say it again, with no hesitation, I believe.